Welcome to the Missouri Baptist Coaches Show. I'm Drew Fry alongside Coach Sam Pearson. Sam, you guys are coming off of a road trip down to Arkansas where you guys split the two games you guys had. You kind of had a slow start against William Baptist, and then you guys kind of had everything going against Central Baptist.
Yes. Man, the Arkansas trip is always a tough trip. Traveling to Walnut Ridge and then also to Conway, Arkansas. To come out 1-1, feels good. I sure would have liked to go 2-0, obviously. I thought that we had our chances against Willie Bap, especially late. We cut it to 4. I think they were up 24 maybe at one point. So I thought that we came out flat. Once we started picking up the tempo late, we were able to get some momentum, and came out short. But I had something to build on for the Central Baptist game. So I thought we came out, played with a lot of tempo, caused some turnovers, crashed the offensive glass, man, and really was in control of that game start to finish. Both teams, man, are well coached. With Mayberry is at Willie Bap, and then also Lyle Middleton at CBC, man. So, to come out 1-1, in a season where we've kind of been struggling a little bit, feels good for us. But there's no more victories, man. We've still only 1-1. So it's time to get back to it. With a big week coming ahead, man. So let's see if we can continue to progress.
Against CBC, you guys had a pretty good offensive output, shooting 50% from the field, scoring 84 points, and getting 5 people in double digits for scoring.
Yeah.
What led to that?
Yeah, man, it was, a lot of it was to do with our tempo. I figured we'd pick up the tempo a little bit, press for 40 minutes or so. We were able to, find the groove, man. We were able to settle in offensively, move it a little bit, pass up good looks for great looks. And I tell the team, man, we just got to trust the basketball sometimes. Sometimes we have to trust that passing up a good look and making the extra one, man, the ball is going to find the right hands at the right time, and then it's just up to us to make layups and make open triples, man. So I thought that we did a good job of trusting ourselves, trusting the ball, playing unselfish basketball against CBC, and it's, it gives us something to build on for sure going into the second half of the conference season.
Yep, you just mentioned the second half of the season. We're at the midway point right now where you guys are going to start facing teams a second time.
Yeah.
So you guys traveled to Stevens, and now you host them on Thursday.
Yeah.
What can you expect for that game?
A lot of tempo, man. Stevens pushes the tempo, presses it full court for 40 minutes. They're going to crash the offensive glass. Stevens is an all gas, no break type of team, man. So, I thought last time we stepped on the court against them, man, and we weren't a good representation of ourselves. I thought that, maybe we were a little taken back from the tempo, or maybe we were flat playing, at Stevens, or whatever the case may be, man. I don't think that we were at our best. So I'm interested to see how we respond here come Thursday, because, man, they almost 40 us, had us down 40 at one point at their place, so be interested to see what kind of group we got, man, whether we're able to respond, and come out and fight back against the bully, man, or we got to curl in our shell and it's going to be a long night again. So, I'm interested to see, how we respond then. And then obviously, William Woods at William Woods, is no slouch either. They've been playing good basketball. I think they're maybe 4-2 at their place or something like that sort. Coach Nash always has a good game plan, man. So it's a tough week for us, to start the second half of the season, man. But I think that no opponent looks at us and thinks it's going to be an easy night. And so as long as we're ourselves, as long as we play the brand that we're capable of playing, man, I think we're going to be a tough outing for anybody.
And so with the second half of the schedule, you've seen everyone twice. You have played some of them here, some of them on the road. How can you game plan differently to know, since you know what they're going to do?
Yeah. Well, outside of that Stevens game, man, I thought Stevens was really the game where start to finish, man, we weren't ourselves, and so therefore that film that we played Stevens as Stevens, man, is really a wash. I refuse to believe that's who we are. So, that's kind of started from ground zero this Thursday. We play them, now every other team, the ones we won, we can look at the areas in which we exploited the opponent, and continue to build on that. Or, the loss we had to Columbia where we were up 16 on them early, and we just kind of took our foot off the gas. That allows us, playing them now on the back on the second round, allows us to make whatever corrections we may need. Have different personnel out there, in different positions. So really, it's I like the second half of the season. It's really about coaching and making those adjustments down the stretch, keeping your team engaged, even though we're significantly under 500. So it's all about coaching, man. It's all about engagement. It's all about not seeing the finish line too soon, man, and taking this thing one game at a time.
Well, 2 big games this week.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
And we'll be right back with Coach P and Kevin right after this. Welcome to the Coaches Show. That's Preston Ingram. I'm Kevin Paulus. And Coach, a couple of games to talk about. You took the Arkansas trip last week. Let's first talk about the Williams Baptist game. Good win for you guys, winning by 9. Tell us a little bit about it.
Proud of how our guys stepped up and filled a void, really able to come in there. I mean, it was a tough physical game. And, they really let us kind of get after it a little bit in that game. And, I thought that both teams played really, really physical. And, for the hiccup that it was, I was really proud of our staff, Coach Taylor stepping in to be able to fill that void in that part, be able to do what he's supposed to do in that aspect, and really kind of just navigating the waters and keeping our guys locked in. And, I couldn't be more proud of our guys during that time in that situation. It was first time to be able to sit upstairs and be able to watch it from a different angle, but I also thought that was about a good benefit for us also too in some ways, beneficial for me to see it from a different aspect in that part. But I really was really, really proud of just, our guys stepping up and playing the way they did. Nico hit some big shots. Preston Ford came in and hit some big shots. Keon Basham made some big plays. Damari played like Damari, and Sterling came in and got some big rebounds. Like same thing with Connor. I think I saw Connor on the floor more times than I've ever seen. And, all collectively was a great unit game. And we spent a lot of energy in that game for sure because of the way the game was being played. But ultimately, to go to Williams Baptist, we go with the win. The way they played, I got a lot of respect for Josh Austin. He's one of my favorite guys there is in the league. And his teams play extremely hard all the time, and you're going to come in there with a battle because of just how they play. So first we come out there, I was pretty happy for it.
And we talk about like the physicality that you guys were able to play with and did play. You almost go back to a conversation we had earlier with the SIUE and the officiating in that game and SEMO and some of those exits. This is when games like that, you don't draw a direct line to it, but playing that physical game and that style of officiating, because they really did. There was some banging going on Thursday night that they let go, and you guys didn't back down from it at all.
No, and you're exactly right. They let it go on both ends. There was times I was looking, I was like, man, we just fouled the living crap out of that kid. And they let it go, and I was like, damn, they just fouled the living crap out of us. And they let it go. And, due credit to the officiating, they didn't change. I think Josh had brought up one time, like, hey, what's going on? He's like, hey, we're making the adjustments.
Right.
And I thought that was beneficial to us because they're so quick and fast where we got bigger size to us. And I think that it paid a dividend to us for sure. And then it paid a dividend that we can go back to this SIUE games and the SEMO games and how physical they were against us that made us have to be able to learn how to be able to play more physical. It paid this dividend at the right moment, the right time, for that particular game, for the most part.
So you talked about it. You were not on the bench on Thursday night serving the 1-game suspension. What I mean, I'm not saying did you learn your lesson. I'm asking the question. What did you
Still trying to figure that out
from looking at it from a different perspective? Do you think that could somewhat, and you alluded to it a second ago, be a little bit of a benefit to kind of take a step back and see how everything works with you not there, coaching?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time in 25 years I've ever had to experience that. And it was an unfortunate circumstance that happened. I still don't know. That's a whole other story on that part. But it was a benefit, I think, to see it from a bird's eye view of just how we warm up, to how we handle certain situations, how guys react on the bench, to timeouts, to how the staff kind of handles certain situations, and what we're prepared for, what we're not prepared for. I think all those things were good. I mean, like I was sitting up stop, and I was able to have conversation just with myself and make mental notes, and maybe kind of see it from a different aspect of how we look from a fan standpoint, not just as a coach's standpoint. And you don't always get to experience that as your team. You usually see your team from a coach's standpoint of what you're not doing at that particular time in comparison to what you are doing. And there's a lot of great things I think that we are doing. I do think that we represented ourselves very, very well in our mannerism and how we kind of did some stuff, and that's a more of a win than it was for anything to be able to see. I don't like how we warm up. That's the first time I've ever seen warm-ups. And we're going to be able to change that a little bit. But nonetheless, I mean, the micromanagement in me wants to look at those aspects in that part. But it was a good benefit, useful time for me to be able to kind of see it from a different aspect. And hopefully we'll be able to kind of make some things change a little bit going forward.
Were you able to sit throughout the game?
No, the athletic director and the president both are tremendous men that I have a ton of respect for. Their AD I got to know over the years, and we had a lot of good conversation before the game. And I told him before the game, I said, "Hey man, I'm not gonna, I just want to get this done and over with. So I'll be upstairs on the track." And he said, "Look, we're all good." And then the president came over to me at halftime. And he graced me a lot instead of saying, "Hey, I hate this is happening," or whatever it is. But he was like, "I have a lot of respect of how you're handling it," and stuff like that. And I said, "Well, I appreciate that." I said, "I'm about to pull a hole through this track because my foot is bouncing a little hard right now with the nose." And so mid-game, I think Preston Ingram got a steal for a layup, and then hit a big three. I will say I did stand up. I did clap. I did pump my fist pretty hard during that time. But for the most part, though, I tried to make sure that I kept myself in the check and stuff like that. But I will say there's an imprint upstairs on that track where my foot was bouncing up and down the entire time.
Awesome. So you guys move on from there to Conway, Arkansas, a game against CBC, and we knew it was going to be tough. It was tough. Yeah. You mess up Taylor's one-game winning streak by coming back to the bench, but
should have left.
Yeah, just let him handle it.
Should have left.
Let's talk about that CBC game. What are your takeaways from it?
Well, a couple. Honestly, I think that we had a huge emotional letdown from the physicality. I thought that we really was worn down a little bit in that CBC game. I mean, there was a lot of emotion. I mean, it was the first time of everything on that part. Getting into the CBC game, the one thing I've always been concerned about is how we're handling big games. And that's something I've always talked about, and in a big game right now, I feel like we put a little bit too much pressure on us. I kind of noticed that right away. It's seeing that in our two games that we've lost. And again, this is nothing taken away from Columbia. It was a great team, and Central Baptist, obviously, they're 7-0. They're doing what we kind of did 2 years ago. It's kind of running the league right now, and they've got a lot of big-time playmakers on the team. Sean Corpus is as good as they come. And Kyle Harding is one of my favorite players in the league right now. And, I mean, they're big-time players and make big-time plays. I think that we got tight and we was hurting ourselves, not because of what CBC was doing, but because of what they were doing, plus on top of what we were doing to ourselves. It was a parallel of the Columbia game. Our emotions wasn't quite where they needed to be. We was holding on to plays that had no merit to anything, and we could never let it go. You know, there was a point in time there for a minute, Moose got it going and scored on multiple plays back and forth, and I thought we had cut it down from 10 to 5.
Yeah.
We went back up and it's still at 10. And I thought, what in the heck? Like, we couldn't quite stack plays, and we didn't shoot the ball particularly well. And I think, Evan had wide open shots. Nico had some open shots, but we can't those two guys go 2 for 15 from the field and expect us to be able to win. Now, again, similar to the exact same thing in the Columbia game, the positive thing is that we had guys that went 2 for 15, and we are in the game by 10. Or the Columbia game, I think it might have been 6 or 8, whatever that it was. But it's not that we're not there. I think we had control of the game in some ways. I thought we did a few things. Now, I think that CBC really exploited some of us in transition, and they broke out and they got doing some things in the scout that we said that we didn't want to do. And so hopefully we learn from those things. And that's what I'm hoping that we're going to do this week is able to learn from things and to prepare for the second term here that we can make a push.
Yeah, I was going to say, you kind of break your season down at different guideposts along the way, and we've hit one now because you guys are halfway through the conference season.
Yeah.
You've played, every team home and away, and now the return matches are coming up. Just assess where you're at. I mean, right now, I would say solidly in third place because, you've lost to CBC and you've lost to Columbia, the two teams that are ahead of you, and then, you got William Woods right behind you. But just kind of talk a little bit about where the team is at as far as conference right now.
I think that we're still in a good spot. I talked to the guys afterwards. I said, after the CBC game, I said, look, we're fine. We just got to be able to learn how to kick the bucket and be able to be better in pressure moments. It's a marathon, and there's a lot of things that can happen. I think it was very similar to the exact same predicament last year. Columbia was in the exact same situation, and the second half it's a different story sometimes. And so either way that it goes, we're not necessarily in control of our destiny, of what we want to be to do to win the AMC. But either way that it goes, we're still in control of what we can do every day and go into the second term and be able to grow into what we need to be able to do to getting better. And that's really just focusing on Woods, and make sure that we're taking care of what we need to take care of. The thing that I don't like is that we're playing one game this week and then we play one game next week, in 2 potent games, but again, there's a lot of basketball that can be played and there's a lot of movement that could happen. We play Woods and then we play Columbia, and those 2 games right now is one team's behind us that if we lose to, they're now caught up with us. But if we win over them, we get a season sweep, and then we can go get a split with Columbia. And those are 2 potent games for us before we go into a 3-game week. And so right now, our whole focus right now is nothing but just William Woods and what we need to be able to do, taking care of William Woods. We can only learn from what there was the first term. We can't hold any merit to anything else. We know what happened. Now we just go back and see what there is we got to exploit, what areas we got to take care of, and what areas we got to get growth from. And that's really about it. I think we get past that, then we're getting way ahead of ourselves and what we need to do. And I don't think that's ever any good. There's things that we got to do better in big games. And scoring the basketball, we got to do better than that. We're averaging like 62 points a game in big games right now, and that's not good enough. We got to do better than that. We got to defend better and we got to score better. And that's the area we got to get better at in those aspects, of being more exact into what it is that we want to be able to get done and how we want to be able to work to get a great shot in those possessions on that part and clutch moments in that situation.
Kind of touched upon it. I don't want to gloss over the fact that it is the return game against William Woods, but it's just a basketball game. That's what you guys got to handle. All that stuff that happened, it happened. You just got to go in there and get a win.
No, at the end of the day, and here's the thing too, is that here's one positive thing, and I said this like, we stayed in the exact same hotel as they did down in Conway, and we had to see some of the players and our players, and their players, and needs of their players.
At the same time, you guys know that you guys were, yeah.
We walked in, I was like, oh shoot, this is gonna But here's the thing. Like, I got a lot of respect for those guys and their players and those players. We know, and I've always been big about this. Is that in the summer I open our gym up to other players.
Yeah.
Tony Burks used to come over here during the time, and Tony comes in and works out with our guys, and we work them out and open the gym up, and we do the exact same thing for any player. And the thing, it's we say this on the mic: it's testosterone. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But what happened, and it doesn't go any further than that. And you got two highly respected programs, two highly good teams that are going and trying to fight for the exact same spot and trying to jockey around. And right now, both of us are jockeying from below. And they got incredible players over there. I think we got incredible players over here. And but at the same time, I think there's a lot of respect that needs to continue to happen. And we got to go in. And right now, our only focus is going into Woods and be able to get a win, and not holding anything that happened. And whatever happened, to be honest with you, I don't know what happened, to be honest with you, but because that wasn't how the game was going. And it's a sore thumb on a game that was going in the right direction, the way the game was supposed to go. And hopefully this game here is another great game in a hostile environment. They've always got poor, great crowds. And now we're going over there with, I'm assuming there's going to be another great crowd. There's going to be another live environment. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a must-see TV, must-see game. And so I'm excited about it.
All right.
Appreciate it.
It's Preston Ingram. This has been the Coach's Show on the Spartan Digital Network.